One is the Azure Key Vault question we had in the previous lesson, which I want to cover, but I will pause that question for now because recently some of our friends from Questpond gave the exam, and there were a lot of questions on Azure queues, events, service bus. So what I will do is today's topic. I'll focus on that because some of our friends are also going to give the exam in this coming Monday, means tomorrow, and they have said that if you can just brush up 2-3 questions around it. So here it is. So some new questions have been occurring, which is around the queues, events, and service bus. Now those questions really are not clear because I think they have added new questions out there. But very quickly, hang on, let me share my screen. Why it is paused? Okay, hang on. So resume share. Okay, so very quickly, so some of our friends had recently gone to do the exam, and there are some new questions which have been introduced on Azure queues, events, and service bus. Second, some of our friends who have come in this thing also in this room today have an exam. I'm sorry, let me close all this. Have an exam which is tomorrow. So I thought that I should focus on this. First thing, best of luck for them, everyone out there. So here it is. The questions of queues, events, and service bus comparison is not really clear from whatever interaction I had with the Questpond members. But here it is. Those questions, they try to question your capability that do you understand the difference between what exactly is an Azure storage queue, what exactly is an Azure event hub, and what exactly is a service bus. So if you go to Azure out here very quickly, uh, if you see these are some of those questions, some of those services, I'm sorry. So one is you have a service bus. So this is a service bus. Another one is you have an event hub. This is an event hub. And if you remember in the storage of Azure, when you create a storage of Azure, right, you also had, I will not create it now, but when you create a storage account out here, you in the storage also they give you something called as queues, right? So anyone out here, I know that these are all sessions which we have done previously. So anyone out here who can talk on this, because I'm sure that many people are not coming for the first time. You must have come a lot of times out here. So what's the difference between Azure service bus? Let me write down, and then I will go to the other questions. So I'm opening my drawing board out here. So we have an Azure storage queue, Azure service bus, and Azure event grid or the event hub, right? So let us see how many of you guys can figure the difference out. Azure storage queues, these really, the queues of Azure storage queues are with the storage, means with your blob, with the containers, with the tables, this thing is there. Then we have the Azure service bus, something bit different. Definitely it is more like queues, but it is more advanced queues, right? And then we have the event hub, Azure event hub, or we can say also like event hub, and well, sometimes probably you will use the event grid also, right? Both of them are into one category, I'll put, right? Anyone out there who knows the difference between all of these three, just on that one sentence, if you can just tell that what differentiates one from another, not like too many sentences. I want just one sentence. Queues are okay. So here it is. I can see that. Okay, good. I can see one of our friends has replied. Yes, service bus supports publisher subscriber. Very good. See, Azure service bus is also on queue. First thing, this is also on queue, but it is an advanced queue, right? Advanced queue means what? It supports publisher subscriber, while the storage queue is like just one-to-one. So you send message, and definitely all that LIFO, FIFO, whatever you think about for queues is all applicable. It's either advanced queue or normal queue, right? So first thing, this Azure storage queue is like one-to-one. You send from here and you just get it here, right? First in, first out. Okay. In publisher subscriber, you have something called as topics, or I'll say in the service bus, you have something called as topics. So what you can do is that you can say, okay, here is my message which goes, and you can create different queues. You can say this is topic 1 queue, and then you can say that the same message goes to topic 2. topic 2, right? And then you can have subscriber for him, and you can have subscriber for him, and there is one publisher, right? So here we have the publisher subscriber where one publisher publishes and everyone gets. What about Event Hub? Anyone here Event Hub? Yes, Event Hub. Let's see. Yeah, it supports events. Very right, Amit said. This event, see, Azure Event just supports event. There is a difference between messages and events. This is where the mistake is, right? Events can have messages. You can have events, messages, right? But the goal of event is to send, some kind of an indication that something has been completed or something has been started and so on, right? So events are very faster. Like for example, you want to send an information saying that everything is okay. So there is no data going there. Just events saying okay, 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 or something like that. So events are meant to be for getting some status in a very rapid way. While when you talk about these queues and etc., these are not events. These are messages, right? So first thing, there are some questions which comes around like around these three, where you should be very much aware. So one is one-to-one messages with the FIFO way, first in, first out. Second one, Azure Service Bus is publisher subscriber, which is having topics. So it is like a publisher subscriber, again a queue, but Event Hub has nothing to do with messages. It is more of event, right? Okay, so that's one thing, so the question really is not known. I asked a couple of times to 2-3 people, but they were not able to get the right question. So I did not draft anything out here, right? So we'll keep this. I'll see that if I get the question. So, but that kind of questions are nowadays coming a lot. Now here is this question number 25. Okay. Let's see this question. This document has been uploaded into QuestPond VD and must be today also. I uploaded something more. I have updated something more, that also I will upload. Okay. You are using Azure Queues where a .NET application is pushing queue message and another .NET application is reading from that queue. Okay, so one .NET application pushes and you are using Azure Queues. Azure Queues. Azure Queue is different from Azure Service Bus. Please, those are two different words. Once the message is read, the queue gets deleted. Fine, that's what the queue is meant for, right? Once you read the message, it will get deleted. Recently, there is a demand that message should be sent to more subscribers. What can be a better fit? Read from the Azure Queues and dump it into Blob from where subscriber can read? No. First thing, we know the answer. It is definitely Azure Service Bus, right? Service Bus, you create topics and you make it publisher subscriber, right? But here you can see other options. For every subscriber, create an Azure queue. No, that's not a good solution out here. And Event Hub, like we can do this by events. Remember that in events also we have topics. But here, we are talking about queue. He has very specifically said it's in queue message. So the answer is the last one, use Azure Service Bus and create topics, right? So that's the first question. And what I will do is let us do like this. Now that we have this question before us, let us go and do a small demonstration of Azure Service Bus. Let's go and create a service bus and let us try to put some message out there through .NET, read it through .NET, right? And one more important thing, remember that Service Bus and Event Hub is a global object. Means, for example, when you go to your portal out here and when you go and you create a storage account like this, you actually create a storage account on the subscription. So on the subscription which you're logged in, you will have storage account 1, storage account 2, different storage account, right? But when you talk about Event Hub or like when you're talking about Service Bus, these are global things. You can see here, it says that create a Service Bus message. So that means that Service Bus is a big service and in that we have a namespace. Look at the Event Hub also. If you look at Event Hub, when you go and see Event Hubs, right, you will see Event Hub namespace. So that means that there is a global object out there of events and he will use namespaces to identify it. So in your subscription, if somebody is sending a message from a blob to a, let's say a function app, it will send it to the namespace. It will send it to the topic, right? So remember, these are more global objects while storage is more local. You don't create namespaces, you actually create a storage there, right? So again, that's a very big difference out there. And definitely if you say you want to activate this event hub and so on, you have to go and activate your, how do you say, your resource provider. Resource provider, guys. This is important. By default, on your subscription, some of the resource providers are registered. For example, you say you want to use a virtual machine, so you have registered it. You want to use network, so by default you can see some of them are registered. But look at this, Power BI dedicated. This one is not by default done. I have actually registered it, right? So some of all the services are not available to everyone. You have to manually go and register some of the services, right? So in the same way, for even for Event Hub, you have to go and say register, right? If you don't say register, you will not get an event grid or event hub, right? Like you can see here, there is no event hub here. I have to actually go and register this, or else I won't be able to use event hub. So why is my event hub not registered? Event hub or registering, you can see now it's getting registered. So remember registering. So remember, on your subscription, all the resources are not given to you. You have to register some of them, right? So event hub and also event grid and also your service bus. Service bus. This also you need to register manually. So if you try to go and say your service bus, if you don't get it, that means that it is not registered in the providers, right? So already it's done in my here in my this one. So let me go and create a service bus out here. Let's do this. Let's do this demo. This question is related to service bus. Let's do a small demo out here and let us understand it, right? So I'll create a service bus. And I think we did the message, we did the demo of queues, right? We did not do a demo of service bus. Can anyone confirm this? We did a demo of queues, definitely. But did we do a demo of service bus and namespaces? Oh, we did, is it? Oh, the message we did the demo of, let me know. I can see Kulkarni sir saying no, but I'm not really sure. So many demos have happened. Did we do a demo of queues? We did, yes, Azure queues we did, Azure service bus. Topics and so on. Did we did any kind of demo? Let me know, please. You can put on the chat. Did I do, or am I doing a duplicate work out here? Okay, so I assume that I did not do it. I remember I did not do it, but I'm taking so many demos out there that I forget now on which class I am nowadays. So I don't see any answers out there. If anybody has the answer saying that I've done this, so I can see that answers are not there. So that means that I will do the demo, right? So let me create a thing called as delete resource out here. So this delete resource group I've created, so I'll delete it afterwards, right? So I'll create a Questpond service. Let me see some answers out on the chat. I can quickly have a look. What happened to this chat? Queues we did. Queues I will not do it again. But yeah, not done. Let's do it, guys. Let's do service bus. You can see service bus gets a URL. So Questpond service, Questpond SB. Remember, do not just do questions, guys. Do not do questions. Do not just go do questions and pass the exam. Do the practical, look at things. Right now, very quickly, some of the things out here, you can see there's a basic version they have given a standard version, they have given a premium version. You don't get topics in the standard, in the basic version. So if you take basic, you won't get topics. So I'm going to go and just take the standard one, because just before this class, I created a basic version. I was searching for the topics menu and I did not get it. So standard version, you need to create it. I'll say review created. So here is a service bus which I'm creating. Inside this, now I'll create a namespace. And inside the namespace now, then we will create queues, right? So there it is. We are creating it. Okay. Also, what we will do is, let us see, I don't really have, so this code out here, this was the code, but this code is, let me not take this code. Let me do like this. Let me take the Azure Service Bus docs, Microsoft, right? Let's go and see the code from there. The docs are very much aligned. Actually, they are very much, how do you say it? Very neat, at least, you know, from what I read from here. So Azure Service Bus. So that's Azure Service Bus out there, fully managed, this and this. Messaging, it has topics, you can see. Topics, it enables one to many relationship between publisher and subscriber, and so on, so on. So that is the queues, and those are the quick starts out there. So guys, let us get started. So here it is, deployment is in progress. So let's wait. So you can see, guys, in the diagram itself, it says that this is a queue and this is topics. So 3 topics and 3 receivers out here, right? Very nice. And what about some oh, okay, create a service bus, and I'll just keep the .NET code out here, because probably I'll need the help from here. So you can see here, guys, I've just kept myself on the Docs Microsoft, and what my belief is, why I don't create notes actually is that, because I want to just show you that how I learn, and how a normal developer learns, right? He does not really create notes. He just goes, Googles, he gets into the best article or the best document and he reads it, right? So this article I've referred many times, so I can just show you how to do it. So note, there are no notes, but most of the time I'll refer a Microsoft document or an article which is well explained, right? So here it is, the deployment is complete. So let's go here and let's create a queue inside this. Now, yeah, so here it is, queue. So you can see Azure Service Bus is a queue. So I'll just say my queue 1, 2, 3. And you can see the max queue size, the max delivery count, how much time the message should be alive, enabling partitioning. This is a very good question. There is one question which comes around partitioning. Now what happens is, like, let us say you send a message and you want to create a partition saying that this is message for Mumbai, this is message for Delhi. So what he does is, basically he creates some partition, and that partition actually runs on a separate kind of an hardware, so that you can get maximum throughput. So definitely when you enable partition, things become costly. But there are 2 benefits of this. One is that you don't have to write if conditions in your .NET program saying that, okay, if Mumbai, if Chennai, then do this, right? It's you have created a partition, you just use the partition key and you get the messages from there. So again, a wonderful thing. One is that you have topics, and inside the topics, if you have huge messages coming in, you can create partitions and improve your throughput, right? So because there is one question which is coming here down below after this, where you will see the partitions, right? And other things are self-explanatory. If a queue is idle, do you want to auto delete it? Do you want to enable sessions? Enable sessions means that, let us say I send 10 messages. Do you want to say that all the 10 messages belong to a session or not, right? So some points out there, I'll just create it. Let's not go into each property out there. I'm creating a queue. Now this queue, I'm sorry. Oh gosh, there's a lot of masala in the kitchen, which is, so now if this queue I want to go ahead and access in my .NET program, then what I need to do is I need to go and share it. I need to create a policy out here saying that create some policy that how you want to expose this queue out, right? For example, you'll say that, no, like I want to create a policy where a person can only read it, or read and write it, or read, write, and manage it, right? So I'll go and I'll create a queue here, and in this queue only I can send and receive. So I can just send and receive. So I'm creating a policy. Now, when you create a policy, right, what he does is, for this policy, he creates a unique connection string. And this connection string we can use inside .NET or whatever in your program, and we can connect it. So you can see here, at this moment, I've created this, which only does a send and listen. And you can see there is a primary key, a primary connection string, a secondary key, and a secondary connection string, right? So we are all set. Our queue is created out there. Now let us go ahead and through the .NET application, let us post a queue out here, right? And very quickly, guys, I want to also show you, you can see down below there is topics. We'll not do this demo now, but let's see, after this, we'll do the topics demo. So you can see there is topics out here. You can create a topic and your client will subscribe to a specific topic. Publisher subscriber, right? Okay, so you publish in one queue, it goes into all topics, and then .NET, your .NET application can subscribe to topic 1, and another one can subscribe to topic 2, and so on, right? One-to-many kind of relationship. And every topic you can define a different security, you can define a different thing, so that you can manage them separately. Okay, this kind of facility is not available in Azure Storage Queues. So I'm going to go and open Visual Studio now, and we will start referring that document which is given in the Docs Microsoft. Let's create a console application and let's make it very simple. Let's make it .NET Core. Start now getting habituated to create .NET Core applications. Just forget there was something called as .NET Framework, right? So there it is. Let's see questions out there. If you have questions, please put down. Difference between partitions and topics. Very good point out there. Yes, so you can have a partition key, you can have a topic. See, partitions are more runtime. I can create a partition through a program. You can create a topic through program, but topic is really big thing, right? Partition keys are inside the data. So it is like, it is a key of the data, while topics is a part of the Azure infrastructure, right? So the partition key is a part of the data, means when your data will come in internally, the partition key will be like this, 10, let's say this is data which belongs to, let's say, Mumbai, right? So Mumbai and whatever is your message 123, right? This is, it's a part of the data, actually, the partition, right? But when you say topics, you actually create it, it's a part of Azure. So you create a topic and then these guys can lie into that topic, right? Both of them definitely do partitioning, but probably topics you want to create, you don't want to create dynamically, you want to just create them at the first, and then you don't tend to increase or decrease it. But a partition key, it is something you can create dynamically, and so on, right? So very quickly also, let me open up one small thing out here. Even in the Event Hub, remember I talked about Event Hubs, just because the partition question has come in. There also we have partitions. Partitions we have in Azure Blobs also. So partition is not a concept which is here, but very quickly, if you see here, this is the partition key, right? So when you, even in events, you can have partition. So this is more of a key of the data, right? Okay, so right, I hope that answered your question. One is a part of the data, and so topic can have multiple partitions. Yes, one topic can have multiple partitions, but inside partitions you can't have topics. Yeah, topic means something which is fixed. You have to go and you have to create it manually, or you have to create using your CLI, whatever, but it is a part of Azure. It is Azure's way of looking at data. While partitions is your key, you can change it, you can remove it, you cannot have that key afterwards. But then topic, if you want to remove it, then you have to delete it. Actually, you have to do some remove out there, right? So one of them is more of the Azure infrastructure. Another one is a part of the data, right? So you can see one question which is here about the partitions, which will come in, which we'll see later on. Okay, so now let's go back there. So that's our console application. Let's go back to our, put down the questions, guys. I will keep coming to the query window. So first thing he says, go ahead and get your Microsoft Azure Service Bus namespace component. So I'm going to go to my Nugget package and get the Azure Service Bus. So right click, manage Nugget packages. Just follow the MSDN documentation, the Docs Microsoft. At least for Azure, I can say that they are very clear in their statements. So I'll install this Azure Service Bus. Remember, all of them have components built in, like you have the queue, you have the blob, you have anything, you have an API given by them. You can use that API and make your life easy. So there it is. And one of the things I feel is, like, for example, we had used some of the Azure services for Java. Java does not have these components. This is where I felt like they have it, but they don't have it to an extent the way we have, like how we have a proper namespace, and they have to really sometimes use raw REST API, make a call, and so on, right? So quite when it comes to Java integrating with Azure, I feel that they have a lot of work to do. So, and I have switched myself to Amazon for Java now. I'm not taking. So there it is. I accept. Yes, let's go ahead. And it took some time for that Nugget package. So here it is. Okay. So now we are in. Let's now start. So the first thing is, it says go and import this Microsoft Azure Service Bus. Why not? Let me import it at the top. What's the next thing? He says that go and create a client. Fine. So let us go and create a client. So I'm going to go and just create a static queue client. And this queue client needs two things. It needs a connection string. So again, this queue client, okay, you can't do this. It means let's make it null over here. And then let's create and static queue client. So queue client, right? And I will do the initialization part here. So queue client, I'm sorry to create a static object because I have the static void main here, right? So you can see I'm creating this queue client, and you also have queue client.close once you are done with it, right? So one is we need the connection string. So I'm going to very quickly go to our this one, and remember we had created a policy, send and receive. So I will go and I will take the connection string from that policy, and I will just paste it over here. And we also need the queue name. Now remember that this all has to be put in the config file. I'm so sorry to show it in this way. So also the queue name, our queue name was queues my queue 123, my queue 123. Good. So that it is, the queue client is done. Now we want to go and send a message, right? So let's see what kind of code we need to write. So there you can see, let me go to the main thing. So here it is, you have to first create a message, and then it will say queue client dot send a sync. Damn easy, right? So I'm going to go and create a message out here. Let's do that, where message, and I will just say hello world, hello service bus. And looks like that we need some encoding out here. And for using this encoding namespace, remember our good old system.txt from the BCL library. And now this message, I can just say queue client dot send a sync. Now that's a problem. If you do and send a sync, then you need to have an await as well, right? So let us see if this works or not. So I'm going to go and send this message out here. So that means that if I put and send a sync like this, I have to put here an await. And if I put an await, then this has to be marked as a sync. Remember, a sync and await keywords, they go together. And what I will do is I will go ahead here and I will just say console.read, so that, you know, the message is sent and I can see it. Let me see if I have to close the client out here. Don't we have, everything is so asynchronous. So that should actually send the message to the, so what I've done is I did not, means I know that there are lots of codes out here. I don't want you to really read everything, right? Because what he has done is he has created a separate function and so on. And then he did a for loop. So I've just made it 2-3 lines of code so that you can understand it. Now, but the problem here is that you can't run a static void main with an async, I think so. So if I try to run this, I don't know what will happen. So you can see here, there's an error out here, and it says that the program static void main is not suitable for such kind of asynchronous entry point. So that means what I need to do is I need to go ahead and create a separate function out here. So let me do like this, static async void send message. So what it's saying is that you can't do on the static void main, you can't have such kind of async and await, right? So I'll just remove this, and I will just take all this code from here and I will just put it out here. That's it. So now here I can have a separate async and await, and I can just call this send message straightforward. So that's why even in the docs Microsoft, I was just wondering that why did he create a separate message? Because it's you can't have on the static void main, you can't have a send message which is async, right? So now I'll go and I'll run this. So it looks like this should actually send up a queue message, right? And So, and this is all await. So basically once if the message is sent, then only I will see the hello world, right? And I've made the console application waiting out here. So let me go and put a debug point here, and let me put a debug point here, and let us see. So I'll run this. Any questions, guys, please put it on the chat out there. And there it is going. And once the message goes properly, right, it should be seen in our queue. So in our queue out here, I should see the message counts or some message has come in, right? So yeah. So there it is, sending the message. My message is hello service bus, send a sync. Okay, I'm waiting out there. So you can see now, like this is send async. It is all asynchronous, right? And after that, close async. So and you can see that, you know, because this is async and await, it did not did not what do you call, pause my main program. It did not put a halt on my main program. So, you know, because all is an asynchronous code out there, right? So now let me go back here and let us see if really we have got the queues out here. They don't have a refresh out here. There is a refresh. So let's hit refresh. And there you can see there is one active message. So that means that our message has been sent, you know, to the Azure Service Bus, right? So guys, any questions out here on the basic? I know that it's a very basic code, but it will help you to understand. So very, very quickly, create object of queue client, give him the connection string, give him the queue, and just call send async. That's it, right? Let me know any questions on this one. I'll go to the chat window. Yes, you can use the service bus to communicate between two API. And the goal of service bus is that it can connect any Azure system. Remember, like for Azure blobs or Azure storages, function apps, you don't even have to code anything. If something is a part of the Azure system, you don't even have to code anything. You have to just go and say that, okay, subscribe to that service bus, subscribe to that topic. Automatically the message will come in. Like for example, here now it's .NET Core and I have to do something, right? But there, you know, if you go and see the Azure blobs, you will see that integrate with service bus. So remember that one of the biggest thing about service bus as well as the event hub is that even if, let's say, there is a power user means he's not a programmer, and he says that, okay, as soon as it comes to the Azure storage, I want to send it to the queue. Oh, put an event hub in between. He can click, like means an administrator can also do the integration, right? But yes, when it comes to .NET and so on, you have to write these kind of code. And web API is completely C#. So there we can do anything what we want, right? There is again a question out here that what is the difference between a normal MS queue and an Azure service bus? So one question from Shailendra here. The use of Azure service bus is for queues, first in, first out. So Shailendra sir, the use of Azure service buses, you want to have a queue wherein the first message comes in and that should be the first message out. You want to process your thing in a FIFO way, right? Again, like one more question here from Kumar sir, I think I've answered it. I'll just repeat it. The difference between a normal MS queue, your MSMQ, is that it is not one to many really. Means you send a message, if somebody reads it, it is gone. While this one here, the Azure Service Bus is having topics. So you can have one to many. Even in MSMQ, you can have one to many. It's not that you can't. But I'm saying on the cloud at least, MSMQ is not a part of cloud, guys. MSMQ, you have to actually go and buy MSMQ here. MSMQ is not a part of cloud really. So if you know this one here, MSMQ, I'm not sure even if they have hosted that service out there, but looks like they have not. So Microsoft message queues, isn't it like this? That should be like that. I think they have not even hosted it. I don't think your old MSMQ, if it is accessible out there, just try to check. So that is not even a part of Azure actually. So yeah. Okay. Yes. So question from Manish sir here. Yes, for every topic, I have not created a topic now. This is not one to many. At this moment, this is not one to many. So for every topic, you will have a different No, not different connection string. I'm sorry, different topic name. He will just like how I have given here a queue name, you will give a queue name and comma a topic name as well. So you will actually give a topic name and he will just get from the topic. You don't need different connection string. No, no, no. I thought that different topic name. Okay. Now let us read this queue. So this is a queue out here. I can just send one more queue here so that I can read 2 queue messages. So now let's talk about how to read from the queue. So there it is. I've sent one more message and that should be again seen out here. Refresh. What happened? Oh, looks like I closed the program very fast. I should wait for some time. It is asynchronous, right? So there is 2 messages. We have 2 messages in the queue. Now let's talk about reading. Now for reading, the way the code goes is, let's again go back to our Docs Microsoft. For reading the message, you have to actually go and attach receiving message from the queue. You have to actually, so for receiving a message, first thing, all of the things are same, like giving the queue client, giving the connection string, giving the queue name, all of these things are there. But here you have to register a message handler. So you have to register a message handler out here. So I'm going to just copy this code out here, which registers a message handler. So there it is. So there is a method I've just copied from there. This actually goes and registers a message handler. One message is for the exceptions. So I'll just go and I will generate this method. Another message is for the, if you get a message, process message. So I'll say process message, right? And here you can see in the process message, there is an argument. So I can just check that argument is the actual queue, what you will get, right? So I'll say console dot write line, and I want to go and display that argument out there. And specifically, I want to display the body. You can see there are lots of properties out here, but we just want to display what exactly is the content, right? Let me check if my code is proper. I don't want to. Okay, so message dot, yes, let's encode it. Must be need some encoding. So let's encode this. So argument 1 dot body, and he has encoded it. Sometimes, you know, these message queues actually have a tabbed limited space and so on, right? So those all will be getting encoded out here. Second, one of the things about queue is that once you complete the queue, you should delete it. Remember, a queue means what? Like you take, if you have a 7-person in a line, you service the first person and then you say you don't come back. If you want to come back, go again back in the queue, right? So you can see here await.complete async. What this does is this actually will delete the message from the queue. So await. So because this is return await. Yep. Yeah, async. So there it is. So the second line out here will delete the message from the queue. Errors, we'll see what will happen with errors. We'll not write any error code. So I'm going to go and keep everything as it is, but just I will say here, receive message. So connection string, everything becomes as it is, but receive. Or I'll say receive register on message. If I register this, then also it will actually go and do all the things. Must be I can give a name here, receive message. This receive message actually registers the handlers as well. Receive message. Guys, write such kind of a code. If you want to really learn, if you want to really do AZ204 with developer, you need to write code, right? So, so with this now, let us see what happens here. The process message should fire. And we have 2 messages, remember. We have 2 messages, so I expect this event to fire 2 times. So there it is, my code has started executing. And yep, what happened? Okay, there it is, wow. So that is my body out there. That is the first one that gets completed. Second event, very nice. Second message, sorry, I'm using a wrong word, not event, message. So message. So hello service bus, hello service bus. And remember, we have said here complete async. So what should happen now is that this should actually get deleted. These are two messages. It should actually get deleted. Perfect, right? So Azure Service Bus is again like a queue message, but you can go here and you can create a topic. So one of the biggest benefits of Azure Service Bus is you can go and you can create a topic. So you can go here and say, look at this. This is a topic. So I can go and I can add a topic. Let's say topic 1, and people can subscribe to this topic, right? So this is topic 1 out here, right? And then you can go and you can put a message into this topic, and this topic, will have, whatever message you put into this queue. So you can see here, even the subscriptions, look at this. To this topic, you can add subscriptions. For example, now this add subscription out here is related to Azure. Means in Azure, you want to go and add a subscription, which is of a blob, or if you want to add a subscription of a function app. So if there is an Azure entity which you want to integrate, then you can use this subscription here. Or else through code, you can just go and subscribe the way I've done it. You have to just attach a handler. So I will not show the demo of topics out here. Let me leave it as a homework to you. Again, like if you want to see the topics, here it is, Service Bus topics. And they have also given the .NET code for this. So you can see here, complete all step by step, and almost all the code is same. If you see here, this code is absolutely same. The only thing is that you have to create a topic client. You have to create a topic client, and everything's same. Send a sync, and you have to create, to receive it again, you have to subscribe to the message handler. So I would leave this as a homework. I will not do it here. So guys, any questions on Azure Service Bus? Let us reiterate that question. You are using Azure queues where a .NET application is pushing queue messages. And recently there is a demand that message should be sent to one or more subscriber. Use Azure Service Bus, create topics and subscribe accordingly, right? And with the .NET application, I also showed a demo to you guys, right? So guys, any questions, any queries? Let me go and read the chats now. If there are any questions, I will have a look at it. If we use SB to communicate to APIs, how we can pass parameter to another API? So we don't have to pass parameter to another API. We don't have to pass parameter to another API. Both the API will read it from the queue, right? Very quickly, remember, queue is not reactive, or I'll say queue is not proactive. Queue says that I will just put in the queue and people have to read it from there. So if you have a web API out here, so the web API goes and writes, the same kind of .NET code which I've written, it goes and it puts it into the service bus, assume. There is another API here, he has to read it now. So it does not go automatically. But if you have a function app, if you have a ready-made Azure component or Azure product or Azure software as a service, like, or, platform as a service, I will say rather, PaaS, like your storage queues or blobs, that you can attach. But a .NET code, you can't attach really. At least you can attach a function app if you want, but that's again like a very limited one. But such kind of console applications you can't attach. At least not to my knowledge, you can attach it. Okay, let's look at other questions. But the connection string you copied from topic section. No, the connection string I did not copy from topic section. Connection string, I did not even create a topic in our demo, Mani sir. I did not even create a topic actually. Means this, I have not even created this. I actually copied it from the queue. The connection string is on the queue. Look at this. This is a service bus. Inside the service bus, we have queues. And on the queues, we have connection strings. So on the queues, we have a shared policy. And that, so this is on the queue level, actually. It's not on the topic level. Hang on. Where is my policy of my queue? Where did I create? Now I am confused. I did create on the queue. Oh, sorry, I created on the service bus. I'm sorry. Yes, I created on the service bus, and yes, you can also create on the queues also. You can also, let me see here, shared. Oh, oh yes, you can. I never knew that, Mani sir. If you're asking this question, that can we do it on the queue? Yes, you can do it on the queue, and then what? Like you can do it on the topic also. I'm so sorry if I've answered wrong. Oh yes, you can also do it on the topic. Okay, my answer, that answer which I've answered out there was wrong. You can do the shared access policies on everything. Sometimes these menus are so confusing out here. Mani, I'm sorry. What you asked is right. Like you can have shared policy on the topic level. You can have a shared policy. I never saw this actually, because probably I never, the service bus which I created, I had only one queue, so I never went inside that. But I can see that. Yes, yes. The shared access policies are all over, right? So like my eyes, yes, what you said is right. Absolutely. Okay. So that's there. Also, let's look at this question here of Azure Event Hub. We have 10 minutes more. It's very difficult to demo on Azure Event Hub. I would like to do a demo of Event Hub in the next class. So I can do like this. We will not take this question probably, because once I take this question, then I'm not doing the demo in the next class, right? So let me do like this. Let me take this question. Let me take it. But in the next class, we will do the demo. So look at this question out here. You are building a traffic monitoring system. Traffic monitoring system. The time you say traffic monitoring system, it does not have data. It has just green, red, or whatever, just events, tick, 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 tick. So that means that this is all about Azure Event Hub. Remember, in events, the data is very less. It's small packets, because you want to fire as quick as possible, right? So let me go and put up my Wacom so that we can, because nowadays what I'm doing is I have this Wacom pen here. It is very difficult to read, so I start like underlying. So you are building a traffic monitoring system that monitors traffic along 6 highways. Okay. The system produces time series analysis based report for each highway. So there are 6 highways, and they are sending you data from traffic sensors are stored in Event Hub. So from here it comes and gets stored into an Event Hub. Okay, great. All web apps running on apps. So there are, each department has so traffic data is consumed by 4 departments. So there are 4 departments here, D1, D2, and D3, and D4, right? And each department has an Azure web app. So they have a web application out here. This guy has a web application. This guy has a web application. All web apps run on app service plan with 3 instances. So every web app can have 3 instances, where they're running on. The data throughput must be maximized. Throughput means you should try to send as much as data as possible in one go, and latency must be minimized. Customers always want it. Heavy throughput, this latency, and scalable. So all those words are out there. So now which setting should you use? You need to implement Azure Event Hub. Which setting will you use? Let us see what the setting is. So the setting is as follows. He says that what will be the number of partitions? Remember, we have 7 highways. We have 4 web apps, 4 departments. I'm sorry. We have 4 departments. 4 departments has 4 web apps. Every web app also has on service plans, 3 service plans, so that if something goes wrong, you can switch. And you have 7 highways, 7 or how many highways he says? We have 6 highways, right? So what will be your setting? So definitely there, I didn't see the 3, I didn't see 12, so we can just cross 12. So 3 instances are there, 4 departments are there, and 6 highways are there. Yes, anyone out there? What will be the partition key? Will you put it on the department? Will you put it on the highway? Yes, anyone out there? Right. Yes. Yeah, Mani sir, I must have shown the demo, but highway. Yeah, absolutely highway. See, partitions are data dependent. First thing, forget about this if you don't know even what this is, right? But if you look at from the requirement perspective, partitions are data dependent. Highway 1, highway 2, highway 3, highway 4, period. So it should be 6 partitions out there. And remember, he's talking about maximum throughput. So if I put 4 partitions, then I have to again segregate highways somewhere in my program. If let us say I put 4 partitions, I say that in first two partition put 3 highways, in second partition 2 and 1, and then again I have to do processing because I have to segregate the highway data. So if I just make on the source itself, if I segregate, I repeat that if on the source itself, if I segregate, I don't have to segregate again in my .NET code or somewhere in my Azure, right? So definitely for maximum throughput, I will definitely say highway and I will say 6. So I will put the partition key not as a department, timestamp and VM name, just forget it. I will not even go into that, but highway and department. In that department is 4. In that 4, again, we are mixing up, right? Because you'll be mixing up 2 highway data, isn't it? So the answer is 6 and this. So what we'll do is in the next class, we will see these options of how to create an Azure Event Hub, right? And just remind me, guys, I can forget it. I can take new question also. So I just remind me, sir, we have to do the demo. Azure Event Hub, and we will do the demo of partitions. We'll just see where the partitions are and how to put the key, right? Yes, considering high throughput also, that is there, and definitely you can see latency must be minimized. Now, if latency must be minimized, that means that I should do less processing also, right? So thank you very much, guys. It's almost, we have like 5-6 minutes. Any questions here? So we have done 3 questions today, and all of these questions were around queues, events, and service bus. 24, I don't have the question because that question is changing, you know, for all of our students. But the question I know is related to differentiating between queues, events, and service bus. I think that, you know, when some of them, you know, will give me more questions, you know, what has been asked, when they discuss with me, I'll put the questions out here. But definitely we have discussed 3 things. One is we looked into the differences between queues, events, and service bus. We saw a demo of Azure Queues and how it is a publisher subscriber. And we tackled this question as well. And we talked about Event Hub and this partitioning question, right? Yes, any queries, any questions? Sir, what about design pattern? So design pattern, as I've said in the previous lecture, it did not happen, but this time in design pattern, we are doing CQRS, command query segregation. So on Tuesday, it will be CQRS.